What's up, people? It's your guy, Metamorphosis, and I'm back. Got a lot to unpack, so I'm going to get right to it. There was an article in USA Today by Jordan Mendoza titled, Pittsburgh coach Pat Narduzzi rips Deion Sanders roster moves. Looks bad. Deion Sanders has been making drastic changes at Colorado, but one Power 5 coach is calling the decisions bad for college football. Since taking over as the head coach of the Buffaloes in December, Coach Prime has completely overhauled the roster of a team that went 1-11 last season. Keep that in mind as we move forward. 1-11, people. Bringing in at least 42 new scholarship players while signing top recruits. But new players coming has resulted in a mass exodus of returning players. Something Sanders wasn't ashamed to admit would happen early in his tenure and continued to grow following the team's spring game in April, resulting in a reported 70 players gone in less than 6 months. Now, when they said what he wasn't ashamed to admit, that goes to the viral video, I'm coming. And when I get here, it's going to be change. Let's keep going. The roster overhaul has been met with criticism, including from Pittsburgh coach Pat Narduzzi, who told 247 Sports he opposed how Sanders has used the transfer portal. Colorado has the number one recruiting class of transfers, for 2023, according to 247 Sports. That's not the way it's meant to be, Narduzzi said. That's not what the rule intended to be. It's not to overhaul your roster. We'll see how it works out, but that, to me, looks bad on college football coaches across the country. Let's put some brakes on that for a second and look at the rule. We can sit here and talk about this, that, and the other, but let's look at what the rule states, or a cliff note of what the rule states. And here it is. This is an article by Scholarship Strategies has an article, and it says how an NCAA Division I coaching change can affect an athlete's scholarship. Pay close attention to this. You're going to want to hear this. When an NCAA D1 head coaching change occurs, it frequently results in a change to a student athlete's scholarship status. Sometimes the change happens immediately. In other cases, it might occur long after the new head coach is hired and comes on board. Student athletes who believe they are safe because they have a 4-year guaranteed scholarship that cannot be reduced for athletic or medical reasons may be in for a disappointment and frustration when a coaching change happens. The NCAA Division I rule addresses the status of an athletic scholarship in this situation in, pay attention people, pay really close attention, bylaw 15.5.1.7, titled Aid After Departure of Head Coach. Basically, now this is the cliff note part. Basically, this rule says that when a head coach who recruited and provided a scholarship to a D1 student athlete is replaced, the new head coach has the right to not invite an athlete back to the team the following year. The athlete may, however, be given the right to stay at the school on scholarship until the athlete graduates with their degree. The benefit of this rule for the athlete is that they can continue to receive their scholarship while working to complete their degree. The benefit, and this is where Coach Prime is taking advantage of, and any other coach in D1, in Power 5. The benefit to the new coach is that the athlete's scholarship won't count against the team limit in that sport so the coach can use that scholarship to recruit another athlete. So now, when you go back to Coach Narduzzi and he's talking about, what is he saying? That's not the way it's meant to be. That's not what the rule is intended to be. It was not to overhaul your roster. See, these are what may be assumed or presumed to be someone in their feelings about the way Coach Prime is taking advantage of the clear rule. The rule is clear. The coach has the right, if he so chooses, not to renew the scholarship. The scholarships are year to year, people, because of these one and dones. The 4-year deals, although they may offer that on the front end, the back end states that it's year to year. So, and why is that? Because, coaches change, players change their mind, they jump in the transfer portal. So to hold a coach or a player to to hold a player to a 4-year deal is not realistic in today's time. Let's go back to the article where he says, we'll see how that works out. But that to me looks bad on college football coaches across the country. That's a stretch. Let's keep going. The reflection is on one guy right now. But when you look at it overall, those kids have moms and dads and sisters and goals in life. I don't know how many of those 70 that left really wanted to leave, or they were kicked in the butt to get out. Now, that's an accusation that Coach Narduzzi has made here. Now, far as we know, one, the rule states is the rule is clear. I've just read it to you, and I'm going to give you more information and more background on that momentarily. But here, Coach Narduzzi has made an accusation against a man who is highly credible. Coach Prime is not skirting the rules. He's not riding along the boundary of these NCAA rules. He's exercising the options that he has as a new head coach. This is a one-shot deal, people. This is a one-shot deal. He's not going to be a new coach next season. He has to get in all that he can right now. And he had to choose from either the players he wants to bring in or the players that were on a 1-11 roster. I'm not going to even have to tell you, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. If you believe you can bring in better players, what would you do? You would try to roll with. Now I understand, if you all look at the roster, he did keep some of those kids. He didn't get rid of all of them, to the chagrin of Coach Narduzzi, but he doesn't mention that in this article. He didn't get rid of all of them. Now, they don't talk about the ones he kept. He's more focused on the ones he let go, and he's concerned about where they kicked out of the program. Okay, let's go on. Several former Colorado players have spoken out about why they're no longer with the team, including those that said they didn't get a chance or were pushed out. Narduzzi said he was hired as the Panthers coach in 2015. He didn't kick any players off the team. Now here he goes again. He's making an accusation. He's accusing Coach Prime of kicking these players off the team. Why does he keep doing that? Coach Narduzzi, stop. You know the rules. You know the rules, Coach Narduzzi. By law, 15.5.1.7. Aid after departure of a head coach. You know this rule. Because you chose to keep those players. It was your decision. Solely your decision. Now, University of Pittsburgh ACC conference. Bar may not be set that high. Making bowl games, it may be the bar. Colorado, Coach Prime has come in with a lot of promises. With a lot of promises of winning and winning big games. He doesn't want to be in these participation bowls just to say, hey, we made a bowl. Coach Prime wants to play ultimately in a CFB. And this season, he wants to compete for the Pac-12 title. Unequivocally. Now, how you chose Coach Narduzzi to start your program at the University of Pittsburgh in 2015 was your choice. Give Coach Prime that same luxury. Okay? Give him that same luxury and respect. Coach Prime, in terms of his person, as a person and as a coach, his credibility is through the roof. He hasn't done anything in his life to where someone could say that Coach Prime is doing something under the table. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Let's go on and finish. Coach Narduzzi goes on. I grew up in a profession that you can't tell a guy that he has to leave based on athletic ability. Narduzzi said, when you become a head coach, you inherit that team and you coach that team. If someone wants to leave, that's great. You don't kick them out. I disagree with the whole process. That's not why I got into the game. That's a great autobiography for Coach Narduzzi if he chooses to write one. But for a coach coming in his first season, all of these options are on the table. I don't understand what Coach Narduzzi, who pretends not to know this bylaw. He pretends not to know it. He pretends as if it doesn't exist, and he continues to accuse Coach Prime of kicking these players off of the roster. Let's look at another article on this rule. Potential impact for NCAA D1 coaching change on scholarship athletes. A head coaching change at an NCAA D1 school, whether the coach is fired or leaves of their own choosing to retire or take a new job, doesn't change anything about the steps for an athlete to navigate a transfer or whether an athlete can be immediately eligible at their next college if they choose to transfer. Now, however, a coaching change in Division I can potentially have an impact on an athlete's scholarship, or perhaps more accurately, on a scholarship athlete's opportunity to continue as a member of their team at the university that has the coaching change. I'm almost done. Bear with me, because I want to close this out the right way. But I want to give you the background before I do that, just so we're clear on this, so we can put this puppy to rest when I'm done. That's because a new head coach being hired at an NCAA Division I university can tell an athlete, you won't be a member of this team next season. You can continue on scholarship here at the university until you graduate, but you won't be a part of this team. The NCAA rationale for this rule, now, remember, Coach Narduzzi keeps talking about that's not what it's meant to be, but here it says, the NCAA rationale for this rule is that an athlete should have the right to complete their degree. Remember, they're student athletes. Although their ability of what they've done on the field plays a large part in the scholarship process, what their academic requirements to meet also in that scholarship too. So now, as we continue, the NCAA rationale for this rule that an athlete should have the right to complete their degree at the current university while continuing on scholarship, even if the new coaching staff has a system for which that current athlete is not a good fit, or if the coach tries to run off the athlete. The best example may be a football player who chose their university because the former coaches featured a pass-oriented offense, but the new coaching staff prefers a run-oriented approach. The downside of this rule is that an athlete in this situation will, in most cases, never be able to continue on the team at their current university. That's because the benefit to the new coaching staff is that they get to reclaim that scholarship to go recruit a new player while allowing the current player to continue on scholarship at the university until they complete their degree, as long as that current player never participates in football again for their current university. So, in closing, when you look at this article by Coach Narduzzi and the wild accusations he's making against Coach Prime, saying, well, he may have kicked those players off the team. The first year coach in a coaching change has the right to do what Coach Prime is doing. Coach Prime is evaluating these players. He's been there since December 3rd. He's now there past the spring game, and most of these players that he chose to part with are gone. The players that he wanted, he's kept. Cut and dry. The rule clearly states he can do this, people. So when you hear these other coaches that may come out and talk about the way Coach Prime has done this, you can ignore that. Refer them to bylaw 0.5.1.7. Refer them to that bylaw. Make sure I've got this right. 15.5.1.7, aid after departure of head coach. Refer them to that bylaw. Any of your friends, any of your people that says otherwise, refer them to that bylaw. Coach Narduzzi is being totally irresponsible when he makes these wild accusations against Coach Prime and any other coach that weighs in saying what Coach Narduzzi says clearly are in their feelings, because the rules are clear. You're in your feelings. The rules are clear for first year, for these new head coaches coming in. You have the right to get your roster where you need it to be. And if you have to do it this way, we will allow you to do that. Why? And why is this important, people? Is anyone going to feel sorry for Coach Prime if he doesn't get it done at Colorado? Is Coach Narduzzi going to start a GoFundMe for Coach Prime and his coaching staff if they lose their job? I don't think so. So now, moving forward, this is opportunity, this window that Coach Prime has is finite. He only has this season to get this right. This season alone, people. I just wanted to give you some food for thought, as I've always promised, to be compelling, to be insightful, to be inspirational, and to be thought-provoking. I want to thank you all who have subscribed. Continue to subscribe. Continue to subscribe, because this is what you're going to get. On this channel, I'll try to be more in-depth and not just talk on the surface. I wanted to give you all the background on this issue before we go in on talking about individuals. I don't need to say anything more about Coach Narduzzi. He's stepped in it himself, saying what he said about Coach Prime. Either he doesn't understand the rule or doesn't want to understand the rule. That's on him. That's on Coach Narduzzi. How he has time to worry about what Coach Prime is doing is beyond me. But that's all I have for you right now. Hey, again, thank you all who have subscribed. Continue to subscribe. Hey, I'm out. God bless you and yours.